Okay, Sunday, 30th of November, 2025. So, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. The noble lie that is Santa Claus. Now, I was at an event. I was at an event recently, and I just thought to myself, at a deepest level, why would parents, let's say, perpetuate this open secret of Santa Claus in general to children? Because some could say straight away that's child abuse with regards to feeding them lies on purpose. But I thought deeper than that, and I instinctively felt it's the noble lie. It is this lie that society perpetuates, as defined in philosophy, that helps maintain order, structure, stability, cohesion. There is more for society to benefit from the lie, from having it, than there is by dispelling it. In this context, it's harmony, family, children, behavior, things like that. It's a nice lie that's perpetuated because the benefits for society or family or individuals or even advertising, you name it, there's many different ways to benefit from it, far outweigh the benefits of dispelling it and getting rid of it or challenging it or denying it or things like that. And the opposite would be true as well for many things in society. There are things in society that today are totally forgotten about, totally dismissed, that very few people will be aware of or understand, that most people in their life today will live and never hear about it, that would have been a noble lie, say 10, 20, 30, 50 or so 100 years ago, but it's past its expiry date, so to speak. The benefit over time is decreased critically, so the cost is more than the benefit, so society would just ignore it. So then I realised that, well, it's a noble lie. There's more to benefit from keeping it than keeping and maintaining it than getting rid of it. And that's the crux right there. So then the meta pattern would be, if that's the noble lie with children, let's expand the logic, follow it, and say, what's the noble lie in the wider society with adults? And that's fascinating because that can go into the realms of economics, philosophy, politics, you name it, all kinds of different fields and to varying degrees and levels of society in the hierarchy, so to speak. There could be countless noble lies that today people would swallow hook, line, and sinker in today's Western world. So then the meta pattern of that would be aware of these noble lies. Be aware that where there's this deception, so to speak, to lack a better word, to so to say, in society, in the world, in economics, in finances, in business, you name it, that people perpetuate because there's more to gain from perpetuating it than dispelling it and getting rid of it. The idea has not passed its use by date. So we need to be aware of these things, mainly in order to reduce delusion and deception, or the ability to be deceived. Certainly to reduce delusion, meaning you can cut through the propaganda, the mysticism, the poetry, the drama of life and go straight to the truth, that kernel of truth, that first principle of reality, society, you name it. That you hear this thing, this concept, and you can straight away sieve right through it and think, right, that's the truth. Or all this, everything else behind this concept, this idea, this ideology, this principle, these concepts, etc., can be ignored, can be discarded, can be forgotten about, because I know that is true, and everything else is just padding, it's just fat. That's the part I want. Everything else can be discarded. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. But then we can go even deeper. If you go around dispelling these noble truths, challenging them, undermining them, trying to disprove them, one society bites back. It's that kind of visceral response that a child would have when they're first challenged about Santa Claus' existence. And of course, it has to come from within as opposed to internally imposed. But also, and I did a video about this 6 or so months ago, you risk destroying people's identity. You risk destroying it so intensely that they crash and burn, because these noble lies, we could say, among other things in the world, hold up their personality like pillars, holding them up so they don't crash and burn mentally, physically, maybe not physically, but emotionally. They crash and burn, and if they don't reconfigure their lives, they just remain empty, hollow husks because they've It's not a judgment call or a moral decision, a moral call. It's just an observation. People would have outsourced their identity, their belief system, their standards, their values to third parties that could be built on a noble lie. And if you destroy those noble lies, you have to replace it with something. Because if you destroy the critical mass of these, too many people's lives get destroyed. Their illusions, their life are just shattered. They crash and burn, and if they don't reconfigure, then they can rise up like the phoenix, like in the video I mentioned 6 or so months ago. Either they crash and just maintain what they are and just become empty husks, or they crash, burn, and reconfigure, regroup, and they exceed the person they were in the past. That's powerful. This is powerful, but you don't get that without crashing down first. And then you can say, well, we don't know who might crash and burn and maintain that level of emptiness, or crash and burn and have a rebirth. You don't know. Probably are ways, we'll figure out over time, but that's the interesting thing. So then you can say at an even deeper meta level to say these noble lies, until culture itself dispels them, like I mentioned earlier, there are ideas that I may never hear about that people in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s that take for granted. Things like that. Because it's their truth, their noble lie from their epoch. Until culture changes over the preceding decades, and these noble lies just slowly get shedded away, become obsolete, redundant, not necessary anymore, things like that. And that's the shifting sands of culture of the world. That's the zeitgeist, really, in some way. Or that's the consequence of the zeitgeist, meaning the thought leaders are out there changing and thinking and imagining and changing the world in their own way through their own memes or ideas, and that spills on over into culture, and over time, over decades, things change over time, gently. So rather than crashing and burning, they just change. They just go with the shifting sands. That as the pillars move over here and move over there, they just follow it like that. It's fascinating. So be aware, understand and be aware of the noble lies in society. What they are, where they are, well, that's a whole other conversation, that is. But be aware of them. It's dynastically vital. That's very fancy. Dynastically vital, and it is critically valuable to understand these and filter through the nonsense for the truth, recognizing the truth and seeing it and understanding it straight away. Very powerful. The faster and easier you see the truth, the better. But otherwise, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Subscribe for more, and you will see me tomorrow.